So I think we probably touched on it in one of the other videos, and we talked about it with the clunk when you take off, and this is the stuff we look for right here. You see how much movement's in there? That groove is wore forward in the case. From the factory it ran right there. From the yoke pushing on that, it moved it that far. So that's a huge issue. Some people say it's not a big deal. It is, because what's happening is everything's sliding forward, but your aluminum fork with the plastic on is not. So it'll be interesting to see what this looks like inside once we open it up.
Well, today is not going to be fun. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to rip out the transfer case. She's got a pinhole leak, and if I keep driving like that, it's going to be bad news for me. It could even cause an accident. I mean, that transfer case can completely lock up and explode the chain, and I would have to get towed or go sideways on the road. So I put a little dab of silicone on the outside of the T-case just so it won't leak. Obviously, that's just a Band-Aid. But what am I doing today? I'm going to go ahead and get this thing off the ground. I'm going to go ahead and remove the transfer case. Then we're going to drive all the way to Wisconsin to Kodiak Truck, and he's going to go ahead and knock that thing down, and we're going to see what kind of carnage happened and how it happened, which resulted in a pinhole leak, as we call it, pinhole leak in the transfer case. And if you guys don't catch this soon enough, it can mean a lot of issues. So stay with me, watch this video from start to finish. I think you're going to love it. So there's a smudge right there. Just a little dab, just to hold it in place. That worked out really nice. Look at that. We got it out. Go ahead and load it up on the truck and bring it to Kodiak Truck. Kind of a long drive, but it'll definitely be worth it.
Front feels good.
I didn't video it, but the oil was murky.
Okay.
Well, that's good. That's good to know. You're checking for shaft play, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Check the bore in the front of the case. That's going to tell me what the bore in the front of the case is doing. So the movement that's there is fine. So there's nothing ugly that way.
And we already talked about it, but there's a pinhole leak. Now I did put a little dab of silicone just as a Band-Aid. Like, yeah, right there. As you guys can see, that actually held it, but I don't know how many miles that would hold it for. You've probably seen JB Weld. You've seen guys do all kinds of things.
We've seen all kinds of stuff on there. You know, it'll last temporarily, but the question you got to ask yourself is, when you finally caught this, how long did the case run with no fluid? So guys will try to patch that up, fill it with fluid and run it again. It usually doesn't last a long time. Some guys will go be like, yeah, I ran it a long time. Well, when they eventually do take their case apart, it looks like a grenade went off in the thing. But the issue you're fighting is the pump is pushing from the inside out, so eventually it'll push through and knock a hole through again. So I think we probably touched on it in one of the other videos, and we talked about it with the clunk when you take off, and this is the stuff we look for right here. You see how much movement's in there? If you can get the camera down in where that snap ring groove is, that groove is wore forward in the case. From the factory it ran right there. From the yoke pushing on that, it moved it that far. So that's a huge issue. Some people say it's not a big deal. It is, because what's happening is everything's sliding forward, but your aluminum fork with the plastic on is not. So it'll be interesting to see what this looks like inside once we open it up. But from the front side, everything looks good that way. So we'll go ahead and knock this whole thing down and see what we got.
Oh, it landed in the garbage. Okay, very cool. There it is. got.
What do you think you got?
I honestly think I think it's gonna be fine. I mean, obviously there's a pinhole, but I think things are gonna look good in there. I'm guessing.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, I don't know how you're gonna ever make it home. Not completely horrible. Typical wear. There. You know, right there where the screwdriver came through. That's where you put it.
There it is.
Boom.
It was leaking really bad.
Yeah. You know, and sometimes you can dictate miles on these things. When you look at this, you'll see there's a burr here where that clip literally wore in there. And if you said this thing had 200,000 miles on, I would guess it had a lot of highway miles on it. That it had steady pressure on here, keep pushing this in. Here's the clip. The clip's not even broken. So a lot of times what'll happen is the clip will just, obviously, you guys have seen it in numerous videos where it'll break right down here. This clip's intact. It could go right back on, but from the steady pressure, the entire clip was pushing into there and literally wore a groove right into the housing. Where it had steady pressure all the time, that's usually an indication of highway miles. And it eventually, when it got to the curve of the case here, is where it pump rubbed through. I'm trying to pull that silicone that he put on out of the way, and you'll see actually how big that hole really is. It's huge, but again, it's from steady wear.
Yep, so that's how it sits in the case.
So it sits down in here, but it's obviously loose, so this is what it's basically doing, is it's hammering back and forth. Again, we've talked about this in the past, saver plates, pump plates, whatever you want to call them. There's numerous different terminology for them and different styles and manufacturers and whatnot. But does it prevent the pump rub? Yes. The other thing it doesn't prevent is what we already showed you, which the snap ring groove wore out. So you could go through this whole series of doing this and still have failure down the road. So it's always best, if you're going to do this and try this on your own, put a brand new aluminum back housing in it and something that's decent quality. Magnet's got more silicone than metal on it, which is a good sign. She's all there. She's all intact, which is a good sign that this was caught early enough that there's not a whole lot of wear inside this thing that I see so far.
You know, it's always tough when guys don't have paved driveways, because it's serious. Like, you don't know. Like, it could be a rear diff leak. You don't know. I mean, you could be running it dry, you have no idea.
Well, and the other thing is the geometry of these, the way they leak is, they only leak when you're driving them. Because the pump rub hole is higher than the fill plug height hole. So it's only going to leak at that point in time. So, range fork's good. We always check the range hub for wear, because when you go reverse to drive, if there's too much slop, that's going to give you a lot of slop that's going to be really enhanced. So this is all in decent shape. We have a way of tightening up the front of the housing. We machine shims in-house for this. Eric and the guys over there with Ryan's machining up shims. So we'll shim this up and get it a little snugger when it's all said and done. And get everything rocking and rolling here. Alright, we always check everything inside these cases. We check the planetaries, make sure that there's not excessive slack in them. That's all in good shape. We always, once we wash this, we'll look closer at the back of the input gear. Again, these teeth can have wear. That's another issue. That's going to give you a lot of slop reverse to drive. So once we wash this stuff up, we will inspect everything and go through it all and see what we got going on. Same with the main shaft and the drive hub and everything else. We'll inspect all these tabs, make sure there's no wear there. On the receiver side, we'd make sure those are all squared off and not rounded over. The friction, the high metal one, we throw in the garbage. The other thing is we inspect these blocker keys, make sure there's not all kinds of wear on the outside. Almost every single one of these, when we take them apart, from that high metallic clutch wearing. This is all metallic goo that'll get in the backside of these things that needs to be cleaned out. So again, we got a lot of washing to do to prep everything here to get it back together. The drive hub itself is in nice shape. Obviously, we'll machine everything, add bearings to this, and rollerize the whole deal like we do on all our units.
So this is what they look like after I've cleaned them all up, solvent tanked them, and then we're going to do one final wash, and then at that point, we're going to be done. So they were inspected, cleaned, they're going to be re-cleaned again, and then we're going to go ahead and start putting all this back together.
So we've got everything prepped, ready to go here. Stick it back together. Josh got everything washed up. We didn't see a lot of wear in here. We got a rollarized main shaft in here that we always do. We put a new friction assembly in. It's gonna have all new bearings and seals. We shimmed the front housing a little bit with a shim to tighten up the bearing there. But other than that, we're just gonna slam this thing back together and get her back on the road.
And I'm just gonna be the cameraman right now and just watch the man work, because I mean, let's be honest, this is just fun to watch. It's intriguing.
Catastrophic failure is not a good thing. So we're going to get this all in here.
So is it always quicker putting everything back together?
Oh, absolutely. Once you got it prepped, you bet. I had a few people that have gotten these and think this is the drain. This is not the drain, this is the detent. So if you're draining fluid out of your case and you pull this out and you think it's the drain, you're going to get a spring in a little cup. Make sure you get that back in right, because that is your detent. Detent holds the shift cam in place when the transfer case is shifting, and it completes the shift.
Do we have any tips for the guys that are putting silicone on stuff?
Yeah, don't use the whole tube just because you have one. Go easy. You don't need that much silicone on these. Use quality silicone too. Don't use any cheap stuff. I love this Loctite brand. I've used it for years. I've never had a failure with it. And there we have it. We'll get all the hardware tightened down, get the speed sensors back in and everything else, and we'll have this thing all back together, and you can see the finished product here in a minute.
Pretty cool video, actually, from removing it, diagnosing it, and then actually rebuilding it on video. Rebuilding it, should I say. That's pretty awesome. We were able to do this all in one. So we are good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and hike it back to Michigan, over the pond of Lake Michigan, should I say. We'll go ahead and slap this in there. Luckily, no tuning required. It's just a bolt-in part. There's really not much I need to do other than just put
Oil required.
oil. That's right. 5W30 Mobile One. Is there like a specific Schaefer's? Is there anything like
I
specific?
prefer Schaefer's or AMSOIL, either one of those. Those are my go-to for oil. I'd rather nobody else run anything other than those. They're both good quality oils and they'll do the job.
Awesome. Any particular reason why we're using motor oil versus just regular?
Yep, multi-weight oil will handle the heat better than just the straight up ATF. So works way better, has for years. I've done that 40 years. We've never had an issue and or oil failure for any reason in that respect. So just, it's a better lubrication.
If you guys don't know, Mark Bendler, he used to operate the Kodiak truck back in the day, back in the 80s, early 90s, competing with some of the big dogs like Bob Chandler, Bigfoot, some of the big guys out there, crushing cars at the Pontiac Silverdome back in the day. So now You're not old, but you know what I mean.
I'm old.
He's been
That's
doing
okay.
this a
You can
long.
say it.
He's been doing this a very long time. He's built those monster trucks. That's kind of where I'm getting at. And then till this present day, where he's building Allison transmissions, rebuilding transfer case of every genre. Are you still using Garen stuff?
Absolutely. Yep. Well, Garen, well, there's one sitting in the parking lot right now that came from Michigan that I think it's getting a host to work if I have to check with the guys, but they just tell me my part of it. But
Any
I know it's
updates
getting
on the
trans.
clutches at all?
We're using a lot of the Borg Warner and Rebustus stuff. That seems to be the go-to. We use some Alto here and there too. It just depends. We use a mix of different stuff depending upon the build and what it is.
Very cool, very cool. So yeah, reach out to them. I'll leave his information in the description below. I'm gonna hit the road and we're gonna throw this in the orange truck and take it on its first test drive. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so I am back. Well, I've been back for a while. I actually put the transfer case in the truck. I lost all of the footage. I even did a test drive with this beast. Got everything on camera. I was actually in the process of editing this video and I lost everything, but I guess it's not really that big of a deal. I guess it's kind of boring for the install process in general, but either way, let's go ahead and take it on a test drive on camera. Guys, do me a favor and hit the like button. These videos take me forever to do, but man, I just hope that this will add some value to the truck community. That's why I make them. And like Mark said there, the only way that you're gonna know that it's leaking is if you're driving it. So it's super important that you get underneath your truck when you're not driving it, of course, and feel for any holes, any pinhole leaks where the pump would usually sit in that case, because it's very possible that you could run that case dry. Not trying to freak you out, but if you have a lot of miles on your truck, it's important that you check that out. But first reaction installing the transfer case, I gotta say, it coasts so much better. As a matter of fact, some people claim that you get increased MPGs. I'm not gonna claim that, but it kind of makes sense because the things that they do there allow the main shaft to spin a lot better than stock. So less friction, of course it's gonna last a lot longer. I know the huge debate between the 5W30. You have a Chevy, Dodge, or Ford, you have a transfer case in there. Yes, you can use 5W30. It doesn't have to be a Kodiak truck transfer case rebuilt. Another thing that I didn't mention, congratulations to Justin. I contacted him and let him know that he is the winner of our 06 LBZ Duramax. He was so excited about it. He lives in California. I'm gonna fly him out here. We're gonna make a cool YouTube video of him receiving his prize. I know this Duramax is kind of obnoxious looking. It's orange, it's got big old giant rims on it. This wasn't something that I was planning on going over the top with. If you don't know, this truck is called the Sunkist. I purchased this truck off of Marketplace last year back in the summertime, locally, so in Michigan. So 20 plus years of its life, it's been here. Every single winter it's been driven in. It's got over 200,000 miles on it. This truck was absolutely roached. There was no reason for me to do anything to this thing. It belongs in a scrapyard, but I decided, hey, you know what? I have a YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and restore it. So I wasn't planning on doing a crazy wild paint job and doing all these other crazy powder coated goodies, but I did go above and beyond. I was just planning on doing rockers, corners, maybe a quick paint job and resell it, something like that. But it turned into this crazy monster and I absolutely love it. It's so cool. I do want to send a special shout out to Kodiak Truck, Ryan's Diesel Service. Thanks again, guys, for allowing me to bring my camera there, film that stuff. It's so valuable to you, the viewers, for watching this. But either way, thank you so much for watching. As always, hit up the website, truckmasterdiesel.com. We sell a ton of truck performance parts for your Chevy, Dodge, Ford. If you have a pickup truck, check us out. As always, we appreciate the support. We'll see you on the next one. Stay tuned.
Far side, slow to turn. Kodiak should hit the cars first. Here we go. Runs at him hard. Oh! Kodiak gonna take it. He's got it. He's got it.
Out of Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, Mark Blendler, the owner-driver, an 87 GMC Sierra Classic monster truck.
He may make his living by driving a monster truck now, but he said he did a lot of welding to make that money to pay for that thing, and even got a loan from the bank.
He comes over it like he is not taking prisoners. Well, I'm telling you, this guy is on the gas. Comes right around, up against, almost kisses the wall, spins around, and now puts the pedal to the metal.
He definitely took the long way around that far end turn.
Boy,
Whoa!
over the mud also, and that could be a problem.
I think he decided to take a shortcut because he took the long cut earlier.
Crowd likes it anyway. Kodiak out of Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. And the clocking, 23:16. 23.16 seconds with
You
a Kodiak there.
shave some flags off of your time.
Here's a look back at it. It's straight up and down. You can see the flash bulbs go off. The crowd loves this. They come out to see these monster trucks and look at them flatten the cars. Bouncing up and down like a basketball.
He likes to run those shorter tires too. You can run less air in them, get better traction, and it worked.